make of this combination? What does it do for you as a shareholder fundamentally for the company?
We happen to be a shareholder in both SpaceX and XAI. So, I do think it's the right move long term. It does cost a lot of money to build a data center in space, but because of the nonstop 24 hours energy from solar and you could cool these data centers much more efficiently in space. So about 3 to 4 year period, you will get back that cost, and at that point going forward, you're operating at a much more efficient cost basis than you would on land.
I mean, so effectively here is SpaceX in the short term a piggy bank for XAI to be spending all of that money?
Look, I think Elon was a little bit late to the game on the AI front. This guy's got a lot going on, obviously, as we all know. But if you look at like where Anthropic and where ChatGPT is, their Chat's obviously the biggest from a revenue standpoint, pushing 20 billion last year, and Anthropic about half of that, around 10 billion. XAI only probably did about 500 million in revenue, and was burning about $1 billion a month. So I think Musk was looking at that burn, wanted to reduce that burn, and was looking a little bit longer term and said, look, I got a lot of catching up to do. If I could start building these data centers in space and be one of the first ones to do this, a few years from now when the coin flips, you'll have a lot of data centers that'll be extremely efficient. And I think in 26 into 27, you'll see a very big revenue ramp on XAI. So I think it's the right move by merging the companies. I think it makes a lot of sense.
The whole data centers in space thing, I mean, the timelines are wildly divergent here. And, folks who I've talked to who are experienced in the space area say it really is a very, very challenging engineering feat to make this work. We know Musk, he has a loose relationship with timelines. So when does this need to happen for this to really be viable and make a lot if sense?
Sooner than later.
Yeah.
The race for AI.
But can it happen sooner than later, I guess is the question.
If anyone can pull it off, Elon can. But, I do think that, again, I think the integration will happen quicker than people think. People are now talking about the IPO that he put a very bold statement out on being public by June of this year. And that was before he announced that he was going to be merging XAI into the company. So I'm not sure if that June date is still viable. That may have to, move out a little bit because that's a monumental task in itself, getting public by June with these two companies. But as far as putting a data center in space, with that Falcon rocket, if anyone can pull it off, I think Elon will be the first one to do it. And if the first one works, you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to be putting a lot more up there very quickly. So.
Let's talk a little bit more about the IPO, right? Because there's sort of we got our space race and then we got our IPO race, because it seems like people are waiting for SpaceX, of course, to go public. OpenAI would be the other big one that people are waiting for this year. Polymarket puts the odds of SpaceX going public first at pretty high, 72%, the last time we checked here. Does it matter who goes first? Do you think SpaceX is going to go first, and does it matter who goes first?
I definitely think SpaceX is going to go first before OpenAI, and I think Anthropic will probably go first before OpenAI. I just don't think that OpenAI has everything together in order to put a filing together soon. They got a lot going on. They had a lot of management defections that a lot of people left there and actually went over to Anthropic. We have Anthropic in our portfolio. That's our biggest position. We do believe that Anthropic over the next couple of years will actually overtake OpenAI as far as from a revenue standpoint. OpenAI right now is very large with a consumer base, but which is as you know can jump from one platform to another very quickly. They really don't have any allegiance to anybody. Anthropic chose to go a different route and really chose to go towards the enterprise customer, and they don't jump that quickly. When they integrate systems into their embed systems into their infrastructure, they tend not to jump. So I do think that Anthropic right now is already doing more revenue in the enterprise space than OpenAI. So I do think that the future there's not going to be one winner. This is a gigantic space. artificial intelligence, you need to look at like almost like a new platform, almost like the iPhone. There's going to be many, many businesses that we don't even know about yet, but we will know quickly that are going to thrive over the evolution of OpenAI, the same way DoorDash and let's say Uber, they'd offer the smartphone. They couldn't have done it without the smartphone. And you're going to see a bunch of new businesses that couldn't be here because they didn't have OpenAI, and they're going to evolve very quickly. So it's exciting times. It's a new, this is a new platform that's going to generate a lot of business across many new businesses.
And Joe, when we talk about these companies going public, I mean, the time. I mean, you know this very well, being in this business. It's unprecedented in terms of the size of these private companies and the number of different shareholders in these private companies, right? So I'm curious, are people itching to get out, right? Once these companies go public, they're probably going to see a pop, and then once the lockup ends, are we going to see pretty significant selling because people have ridden these things up for quite a while now?
I don't think so. I'm a believer that you're going to see, and I think you're already starting to see some of the smart institutional money starting to rotate out of what's worked over the last 10 years, right? The Mag 7. Those stocks are under pressure, and I do think that the money's got to come from somewhere. When you talk about the size of these offerings, these are unprecedented raises and valuations that have never been seen before. But these companies on that growth rate, when you look at what's happening with AI, going from really no business in a couple of years to a company maybe able to do 10 to 20 billion in revenue, we've never seen that before. So the trajectory looks very strong going forward over the next several years. So I do think that what you're going to do is see shareholders, do quite the opposite. I think they're going to rotate out of the stocks that worked for the last decade and go into the new Mag 7, right? And it's probably going to be very, very AI centric. I do think that these are the companies that will outperform, not just at an IPO standpoint and have a pop, but year over year over the next few years. I think you're going to see significant revenue growth and cash flow, and these are the companies that you're going to want to be in. Unfortunately, the same way it was the last decade as far as concentration is concerned. The Mag 7 was driving the market, and a lot of people saw the market go high, and some people that were not in those stocks didn't have as much appreciation. I do think that you need to look at these stocks that are coming public, and the SpaceXs of the world, the Anthropics of the world, Databricks. I mean, these are companies that we have in our portfolio that we do believe are going to grow substantially 3 to 5 years, unlike any other public company that's trading today.
We shall see. Joe, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Julie.
We mentioned those Polymarket odds a moment ago on when these companies are going public. If you're interested in seeing more on what Predictions Markets have to say, check out the Predictions Markets Hub on Yahoo Finance, powered by Polymarket.